How's it going, y'all? Navy student here. Today, we're going over what I believe is the best drop-in handguard by far out there. In the early days of the GWAT, and even before, the military was looking for ways to upgrade the handguards for M4s and M16s to make them more modular. What we got, for the most part, was the Knights RAS rail and the quad rail that Knights has for the SOP mod program and the Mark 18 Mod 0. And there's many clones of that rail out there. What I have here is kind of a variation of what Navy EOD kind of wanted and went with a little bit. It is the VLTOR CASV EL2. The original CASV actually had a proprietary mounting system instead of this M-LOK, but this one has M-LOK on it. Now, I'm not sure how widespread the adoption of the CASV was, but Navy EOD did have an adoption of that for their Mark 18s. Now, VLTOR came out with other versions of the CASV handguard. The ones that I have actually seen out for sale, still for sale, and you can still get on the market that's not secondary, are the mid-length versions with M-LOK. Before we go on, I just want to let you know that I do have affiliates with Optics Planet, Palmetto State Armory, Bear Creek Arsenal, Monstrum, and now I've got Armasight. So if you were to want to purchase anything from any of those companies in the future, it would help me out greatly if you went through some of my links down below. It doesn't add anything to the cost of what you're purchasing. It just helps out the channel, and that way I can keep running because this stuff isn't cheap. Now we're going to go over features of the CASV system. Obviously, it is M-LOK, and this has M-LOK on 7 different positions, and then you've got your Picatinny rail on the top position. It transforms Delta Ring ARs into kind of a free float system. Now, it's not completely free float, obviously, because you still have your front sight post, and the end cap is still in here for the mounting system of the other handguard, but it is still more free float than it was before. Features of the VLTOR handguard. We have M-LOK, obviously, 7 different positions of M-LOK all the way around. Then we have Picatinny rail that extends all the way back to the receiver here. Obviously, attachment method is it clamps onto the handguard here as well as it attaches to the Delta Ring here. Nothing touches the front handguard, nothing touches the front where other handguards would touch, where the front end cap as well as the front sight base and sight block are. So that kind of makes it a free floated system. The lower part of the handguard is removable for M203s if you got those. I don't, but if you do, cool. You can remove the lower handguard for that. It only adds 1 pound to the overall weight of the firearm without the accessories, obviously. And the extra part of the pick that is extended onto the receiver kind of acts as an optics riser. So it was kind of an optics riser before optics risers were cool. Now I'm going to go over what I like about this handguard. One of the things that I like about this handguard, it is much more comfortable than those plastic things that go on the old school M4s and the M16s, and it is more comfortable than the quad rails, in my opinion. The M-LOK system obviously gives it different attachment methods for different attachment points for being able to add accessories that you would like. I like M-LOK more than I like quad rail, although I like quad rail, and that is nice. It gives more positions than the old system that came originally on the VLTOR CASV, but I mean, M-LOK, you can get things put on wherever you want on the handguard. The riser obviously gives you a more heads up position for when you're fighting and looking through a red dot. You can get accessories further out than you could with a quad rail because it extends past or to the front sight base there. However, I'll go over a dislike in the future here soon, why I can't get stuff out as far as possible when it comes to, say, my light here. The free float nature of this handguard, in theory, makes the firearm more accurate. Is it accuracy that I can actually see and that helps me out a lot? Maybe not, maybe so, I don't know. But I mean, in theory, it does make the firearm more accurate. It does not get nearly as hot as the RAS system, the quad rails that I've put on to AR-15 uppers. I've handled an actual Knights, and that thing gets pretty hot, especially around where it attaches to the front cap and touches this front sight base. So it gets pretty hot right there. On the old systems, this does not get hot nearly as fast and nearly as bad as, say, a quad rail. Because of the way that is attached to the receiver, this gives it a much more rigid mounting system for lasers if you wanted to put lasers on the top here. So that is a great thing. Now, things that I dislike. There's locking tabs here for the lower part of the handguard. Now, those locking tabs actually get in the way if you want to move your light further out. I have a cantilevered spot. I have a cantilever for my light to be able to get it to go further out, but I couldn't get it to go further out because it runs into the locking tabs. So that kind of sucks in that position. I could move it to more of the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock positions, but I'd rather have it higher on the gun. Luckily, this is a very short, it's 10.3 inch. a 10.5 inch, and I don't really need to worry about that too much. Now, if I was going to suppress this, then I would like to want to get it out a little bit further. Finally, it is very thick. While it is more comfortable than quad rails, my small dick beaters, it sometimes have a hard time getting my hands around it. I don't really have too much of an issue. It works fine, but it's just one of the things that I don't like about it. It's a lot thicker than I would like. Now, things to take note of. You do have to remove the sling swivel up here on the front sight base that's attached to the front sight base to be able to get these handguards on there. And it attaches to the delta ring in a different way than those quad rails do. So just pay attention on how you're installing it if you do purchase one to install. Now, the price for this actual handguard, if you get it on VLTOR's website, is $274. It goes up more for the mid-length systems. There's 2 different versions, but this one right here is $274. Overall, I think that this is the best drop-in handguard that you can get that's on the market today. It's rigid. It's even more rigid than the quad rails, because guys were having problems with the quad rails ripping out. They were saying some of the early GWOT guys, if they had a foregrip on it and they were pulling back on it too much, or they hit it into something, then it was popping those bottom handguards off. This is a little bit more rigid system than that, and that is just, in my opinion, the better drop-in handguard on the market today. All right, so that's it for the handguard. Do the whole like and share thing. If you are not subscribed to this channel, which most of you aren't, hey, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't do anything for you, but it helps me out, and you don't have to pay for anything. If you would like to donate to the channel out of the kindness of your heart, don't get hurt. I'm not asking for money. Just saying, if you would like to, there's a way to down below. Well, that's it. Navy Sooner out.